It's not the size, but what you do with it that counts. At least that's what I keep telling myself. And lately, you know what? I seem to be getting some backup here because there's been a lot of love for big things that come in small packages, if you know what I mean. ITX cases and the motherboards that go with them have been growing in popularity for some time, but there are some inherent trade-offs that come with tiny computing. Size, noise, cooling performance, and of course, one of the big reasons anybody wants a small computer in the first place, looks. So we rounded up 8 of the best small form factor designs for your viewing pleasure. Come along for the ride. The package ride. You bought the ride package. CyberPower PC's lineup of gaming desktops feature Intel 7th generation Core i7 processors. Check them out at the link below. We'll kick things off with the venerable Silverstone Milo ML08, which rocks a classic hi-fi look. This particular model comes with a carrying handle, along with a vertical stand should that suit your fancy. Taking a peek under the hood reveals a separate chamber for a full-size GPU, which helps with both thermals and acoustics in our testing. On the other side, we find generously sized front panel cables and 2 tool-less 2.5-inch drive mounts for any combination of spinning or SSD storage. Taken all together, we think this one's a great choice for a living room PC. Next up, Fractal Designs Node 202, a moderately sized media center style case, again with a vertical stand if you're into that sort of thing, and optional feet if you're not. One thing you'll notice right away here is that there are no screws anywhere on the top or the back. They're all on the bottom, and thankfully they use standard Phillips heads, something apparently you can't take for granted. Inside is a spacious, clean design with well-proportioned cables and a power supply mount that uses rails for additional stability. All the fan intakes are filtered, including the GPU intake's dual 120mm fans, which we would recommend using. Our GPU got pretty toasty in testing, and with 2 2.5-inch drive mounts, it's a pretty versatile option. Crowdfunded on Indiegogo, this is the Dr. Zaber Sentry, a Polish-built mini monstrosity made entirely of steel, right down to the brackets and vertical stand. Everything from the satisfying power button to the weight of the panels exudes quality construction. Getting inside, past the hex bits, we can see a fairly sensible layout with a separate GPU cooling zone and slightly long front panel cables. If your GPU is shorter than 200mm, you can actually make use of a provided bracket to stack up to 4 2.5-inch drives in place of 1 of these mounts for a grand total of up to 8 drives. Of course, if you were to actually load in that many drives, I would suggest taking off all their clothes, because in our testing it got pretty hot in there behind the GPU. Not content to provide only one case for our roundup, Silverstone also sent in their Raven RVZ01E, which I guess we'll call Ron. Another larger case, Ron trades volume for cooling, coming with 2 slim 120mm fans with space for a third and convenient magnetic filters for each of them, all of which combined to give it the top results in our thermal testing. Inside, we see an incredibly sturdy PCI Express riser, 4 2.5-inch drive mounts, ample room to maneuver, and a mount for a full-sized ATX power supply. Ron's not perfect though. Between the too long for comfort, too short for reach-around front panel cables, he's a little bit of a pain to service, and aesthetically, we don't think Ron fits in well in the living room, making him more of a small-ish showcase piece for the computer den. Now, where Dr. Zaber debuted on Indiegogo, the Dan Case A4SFX burst onto the scene by way of Kickstarter. It is currently the world's smallest computer case, it's super light, and it's really beautiful. The panels snap on and off easily, which actually could be a problem with how jam-packed tight things are in there, if not for the optional screw holes. It's extremely space efficient under the hood, with the full-size GPU compartment separated by way of a plastic flap to save weight while offering darn impressive thermals. Now, the A4SFX's size and lack of dust filters do hurt its acoustic performance, and a single front USB 3 port is not ideal for the year 2017, but two 2.5-inch drive mounts give you decent options for internal storage, and while sadly the A4SFX is unavailable for purchase at the time of filming, more good news, they do have a subscription service that will notify you when they're returning to production. Moving along to the Ncase M1, we see many similarities between it and the A4SFX. It's lightweight, constructed from aluminum, and features snap-on panels, though these ones unfortunately don't screw down. It's wholly, get it, wholly ventilated, with two 120mm fan mounts that we would recommend filtering and using as intakes to help prevent the rest of the case from sucking in dust. Thanks to its perforated design, the M1's thermals were great, even if it's a little on the loud side, and in spite of its diminutive size, our unit includes amazing drive expansion, with the optional slot-loading optical drive that goes where you could also mount a 2.5-inch drive, and even an option to mount dual 3.5-inch drives. If you like to store your media locally, and you want a small case, you'll want to give this one some consideration. It's probably the most versatile chassis at its size. Support for triple slot video cards is just icing on the cake at that point. Next up, I hope you're ready, mateys, 'cause we've got the Agentech Métis Plus. Affordable with a premium-looking aluminum finish, this is a more traditional-looking cube PC. Much care and attention clearly went into making it look and feel streamlined, with brackets hiding the slot screws and the bizarre power supply mount. Sadly though, this makes working in it a huge pain, and each side panel is held on by Phillips screws rather than, little quick releases. Looking inside though, we find space for up to 4 2.5-inch drives, or 2 2.5s with a single 3.5, or 2 3.5-inch drives. So the storage options are definitely a strong point, making it an attractive home theater PC option, even if I can't emphasize this enough. It's not great to work in. Finally, a brand new chassis to round off our roundup, the BitFenix Portal. Evoking a certain turret design, this is probably the most overcomplicated case we have on hand, with an inner frame for our parts to bolt onto, attached via a rail. This doesn't leave much room in spite of its size for cable routing, but there's plenty of cooling, which was a big benefit to the Portal in our testing. It even managed to stay pretty quiet. For the Portal, showing off your build is just a window option or 2 thumb screws away, and it features twin quick detach 3.5-inch drive sleds and up to 2 2.5-inch drive mounts. So if you want something absolutely unique, you're looking at it, as long as you don't mind dealing with yet another case that is difficult to work with. So then, final recommendations. What to buy? For someone with forward-thinking style, the BitFenix Portal at $139 US looks pretty good. Looks. It's got plenty of options, sturdy construction, and head-turning appeal, but it's far from the smallest in our showdown, and really not that small for an ITX case, so make sure you've got the room for it. For those of you looking to build a gaming-grade home theater PC to store and consume your content, we like the Silverstone ML08 at $79 US. The Dr. Zaber Sentry does get an honorable mention here for its stunningly slim and clean design, but at $235 US, it's very pricey. Finally, for those of you who just want a slick, small form factor PC, the NCase M1 at $185 US is the Cadillac, and the Fractal Design Node 202 at $79 is the similarly functional, if less luxurious, Camry. The Dancase A4 SFX gets an honorable mention though, when it's available, but at €230, it's a little tough to swallow, though it should be noted that in spite of their size, all of these cases are relatively easy to work with and performed very well in our testing. So there you have it. This video was a metric butt-ton of work, so guys, drop a thank you for Anthony, Max, and Ivan in the comments. While you're at it, CableMod's custom length, individually sleeved cables actually did legitimately help us complete these builds in some cases. And keep it real, guys. Until next time.
Real small, that is.
Do you like talking to robots and navigating automated phone trees? Ha! No, you don't. Don't lie. So switch to the mobile carrier that's focused on customer service and satisfaction first. Ting. When you call them, you talk to someone directly, and everything about what they do is all about saving you money. You pay only, for example, for the services that you use, with the average Ting bill coming in at just $23 per month per device. And if you're stuck in a contract, they'll even pay 25% of your cancellation fee, up to $75 to get over there. So will Ting save you money? Well, all you gotta do is head over and try their savings calculator. It's at linus.ting.com. We've got that linked below. You enter your last few bills, you enter how much you paid, and find out if you would save money on Ting. And if you use our link, you'll get $25 in service credit or towards a new device for your trouble. So thanks for watching. If you disliked this video, you can hit that dislike button. But if you liked it, hit the like button, get subscribed. Maybe consider checking out where to buy the stuff we featured at the links in the video description. Also down there is our merch store where you can buy cool shirts like this one, and our community forum where you can go and talk tech. It's a pretty cool place for a tech forum.